People in my town treat Santa like a natural disaster. They don't joke about him. They don't tell stories about him. They don't even say his name in December. They just call him the Walker. And every winter at exactly 3 a.m., he appears. A Santa suit, but stretched over a body that's too tall, too thin, the fabric sagging like it's hanging on bones. He shuffles down the street one slow step at a time, dragging one boot behind him like it's nailed to the pavement. Always the same route, always in silence, never looking at the houses as long as you don't look at him first. Every parent knows the rule. Blinds closed, lights off, don't peek. They treat it like carbon monoxide alarms, basic safety. My friend Evan and I never believed any of it. We were 13, invincible, stupid, bored. His parents worked nights, so his house was always quiet after dark. Perfect spot for a sleepover, perfect spot to break a town superstition. At 3 a.m. on the dot, Evan shook my shoulder. Dude, he's here. I rolled out of my sleeping bag, heart thumping with that mix of fear and excitement you only get from doing something you know you shouldn't. We crept to the living room window. All the blinds were already closed. His mom always made sure of it. But one of them didn't quite shut all the way, just a sliver of an opening. Enough. We pressed our faces slowly toward the gap. And there he was, Santa. Or something wearing the idea of Santa like a costume. Red suit faded to a bruised color, hat slouched at a crooked angle, beard matted and gray, clumped like old insulation. And his face, God. His face looked softened, like clay left out in the rain. Features sagging downward, stretching under their own weight. He trudged through the icy street, each step leaving a perfect wet footprint that hissed steam in the cold. No wind, no sound, just that dragging boot. I should have backed away. I should have listened to literally every adult in town. But Evan whispered, "He's just some crazy guy." Then, Santa stopped walking. Not gradually, instantly, like someone hit pause on a video. His spine stiffened, his head lifted, slowly, too slowly, until his chin pointed straight at our window. We both froze. Then his face twisted into something a human mouth shouldn't be able to make. And he began turning, bone by bone, creak by creak, until his entire body faced the house. He saw us. He definitely saw us. His shoulders twitched. Then he started walking, directly toward us, not dragging anymore, not slow, not tired, fast, sharp, purposeful. Evan slapped a hand over his mouth to muffle a scream. Santa reached the yard in seconds. His shadow stretched across the lawn, longer than it should have been, bending around objects it shouldn't have been able to bend around. He stopped right in front of the window. Even with the blinds nearly closed, we could see the outline of his face inches from the glass. He inhaled once, long and shaky. The window fogged. Then, bang, the whole pane shook. Another bang, harder, glass whining under the pressure. His voice, thick, warped, murmured through the wall. Naughty little eyes, watching. We backed away, stumbling over cushions and blankets. He scraped his nails down the window, the sound screeching through the house like metal tearing. Then the scraping moved, to the siding, to the back door, to the hallway window. He was walking around the house, tapping each surface like he was mapping the structure, testing weak spots. Evan whispered, "We need to hide," but the terror in his voice told me he didn't believe hiding would help. Eventually, after minutes that felt like hours, the tapping stopped. We didn't sleep, didn't speak, just waited for sunrise. When morning finally came, Evan's parents still weren't home. They'd texted hours earlier saying they were picking up an extra shift. We went outside. The snow in the yard was cratered, deep footprints circling the entire house. Not human footprints. Too long, too narrow, heel too pointed. A trail of them led back down the street, headed toward the woods. For the rest of the day, Evan was off, jumping at sounds, checking the window every few minutes, barely talking. When night came, his parents weren't home again. Around 9 p.m., he said, "Can we sleep at your house instead?" I nodded. We made our way to my house and fell asleep almost immediately. It felt safe. But sometime after midnight, I jolted awake. The house was silent. His sleeping bag was empty. Evan? No answer. I checked the hall, then the kitchen, then the back door. It was open. Snow blew in across the floor, and outside, leading toward the trees, a set of footprints. Not two sets, just one. Long, narrow, wrong shape. I followed them only to the edge of the yard before my courage cracked. When his parents got home, they called the police. Search teams combed the woods for days. They found nothing. A week later, the family moved away without saying goodbye to anyone. Their blinds stayed closed until the moving truck drove off. But here's the part I never told anyone. The night before they left, someone slipped a crumpled piece of paper through our front door. Just a single sentence written in shaky handwriting. Close your blinds. He knows you watched. Every December at exactly 3 a.m., the walker returns. And every December, I keep the blinds closed.
I used to love Christmas Eve. Not because of the presents or the food or the noise that swallowed the house whole. It was because of him, my grandfather. Every year, without fail, he'd disappear upstairs after dinner and come back down the steps in this ridiculous old Santa suit, jingling the bell, ho-ho-hoing so loudly the windows shook. The little kids would scream and tackle him. The adults would pretend not to know it was him. It was tradition, family magic. And then he died in March. This was the first Christmas Eve without him, and the house felt hollow. The suit after dinner, my mom and my aunt cornered us, me and my cousin Tyler, while the kids decorated cookies in the dining room. Your grandfather would have wanted the tradition to continue, my aunt said, her face tight. You're the oldest boys, my mom added. One of you needs to put on the suit. The Santa suit was laid across the couch like a body. Faded red fabric, thinning beard. The old leather belt still bent at the notch he always used. Tyler shook his head immediately. No, I'm not pretending to be him, not this year. I agreed. Absolutely not. It felt wrong, not spooky, just disrespectful. Too soon, too raw. My aunt's eyes narrowed. So that's it? No one's doing Santa? My mom threw her hands up. Fine, she snapped. No Santa this year. Happy now? We had no idea that in a couple hours, we'd wish we'd never argued at all. Later that night, Tyler and I went outside to cool off. The snow was falling lightly, street lamps glowing that soft orange halo, everything quiet except distant laughter inside the house. That's when we heard it from the living room window. The bell from the Santa suit. We froze. Through the frosted glass, we saw movement on the stairs. A red sleeve, a white-gloved hand gripping the banister, boots descending one step at a time. Someone was wearing the suit. Tyler whispered, "Your mom must have convinced one of the uncles." But we were outside. Every adult who could have worn it was inside, within view, laughing, drinking, completely unaware. The figure reached the bottom of the stairs, bent toward the kids, raised a hand and waved slowly. The little ones screamed with excitement. They ran toward him, swarming him. Tyler hissed, "Who the hell is that?" Then the figure turned slightly, giving us a partial view of his face beneath the beard. His skin wasn't right, not pale, not flushed, but sunken, loose, like it didn't want to cling to the bone. He turned away before we got a full look and lumbered back up the stairs, every step slow, heavy, deliberate. We crashed through the door. "Which one of you did it?" Inside, everyone was buzzing with excitement. My mom rushed toward us, her face lit up. "I don't know which one of you finally stepped up," she said, "but thank you. You saved the night." My aunt chimed in. "The kids were thrilled. He smelled odd, though." She winced. "Did you two find that suit in the attic? It reeked." Tyler and I stared at each other. "We were outside," I said. "We saw him through the window." My aunt burst into laughter. "Yeah, okay, St. Nick," she said with a wink. "Sure you did." My mom's smile faded. "So, Neither of you wore it? The house got quiet. Tyler and I went up the stairs together. Each step creaked under our weight. The door to the guest room, my grandfather's old room, was slightly open. Inside, the bedspread was disturbed. Indents in the mattress as if someone heavy had been sitting there. The Santa suit was laid out across the bed again. But it looked different. The red fabric was darker, wetter. The white fur trim stained yellow-brown, like it had been soaked in something foul and left to rot. The beard was matted, clumped, tangled. A smell hit us, sour, rotten, humid, like freshly turned earth and decaying skin. Tyler gagged. Something was tucked under the belt, a note, written in slanted, shaky handwriting. You both made the naughty list. Below it, I'll be back with your presents tonight. For a long moment, neither of us breathed. Then, from the hallway, a slow, dragging sound moving just beyond the doorway. Footsteps, bare ones, wet ones, padding down the hallway, then stopping right outside the room. Tyler mouthed, "Don't move." We stood perfectly still. Something brushed against the door. A fingertip? A nail? Dragging slowly across the wood, tracing our presence on the other side. Then a whisper seeped through the crack, a voice we used to hear every Christmas Eve, jolly and warm. Except now it was gravelly, empty, hollow. Ho, ho, ho. The doorknob rattled once, then stopped. Silence. When we finally worked up the courage to check the hallway, it was empty. Just scatterings of wet, muddy footprints leading toward the attic stairs, leading upward, disappearing into the dark. We didn't sleep that night. We didn't stay until Christmas morning. We didn't go back the next year. But sometimes, late at night, my phone vibrates with an unknown number. And through the speaker, buried under crackling static, a voice wheezes, "Have you been good?"